Now at 10, a day of downpours, and the flood threat isn't over. Tonight, we're seeing how close the water came to families' homes and which roads are still underwater.
All as we brace for more rain tomorrow. Tonight, hear Patrick's latest thinking on the timing and how much more rain to expect.
Also, federal unemployment benefits ending for Texans. That extra $300 a week won't be there much longer. The reason for the change and the impact it could have. 12 News at 10 starts now.
Now at 10, Southeast Texas soaked by storms. And tonight, the flood threat is not over. It's bad news for folks in places like Finette, who received more than 15 inches of rain today.
Tonight, we're looking at your photos and videos from all around the region. So many of you shared them with us. We've seen the hard-hit places, including this road in Cheek. Nell Bruno sent that in. And in Port Arthur, the water covering so many roads. We know how difficult things can get in that area around Central Mall. We're going to head up to Jasper County in a minute. That's another spot that just got hammered today.
Well, right now, we are getting a chance to dry out before the next rounds of rain move in tomorrow. Here's a live look at our powerful storm tracker radar. It looks a lot better, but do not be deceived. We have a tough couple of days ahead.
Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn with us tonight to talk about the timing for these next rounds. And Patrick, I know you're looking at some of the new data coming in tonight.
Yeah, looks like it's going to be about 4 days of potentially heavy rainfall.
That Patrick, and across Southeast Texas, people are hoping and praying that tomorrow won't be as bad. But if you find yourself in flooded waters, be sure to check your surroundings. You don't want to come face to face with a gator. Just look at this guy our crew spotted tonight swimming on the I-10 on-ramp near 365. Now, this was near gator country, so of course there are higher chances to see him out there.
You think the gator made it on the interstate? Let's hope not. Our Jordan James spent the day out there surveying damage as that facility dealt with high waters. And Jordan also traveled across Jefferson County today. He's live with the latest.
Port Arthur's another spot that just saw too much rain too fast today. We had updates from the city and Drainage District 7. Both said all pumps were functioning and doing their best. But for a while, we were seeing more than 2 inches of rain falling every single hour, and the equipment just could not keep up. Those dangerous road conditions forced lots of Southeast Texas school districts to close early today. A handful decided to move to virtual learning tomorrow to be safe. We have a full list of those closures on our website, 12newsnow.com.
You know, we showed you the trouble around Finette. Jasper County also got hit hard with major flooding today. Highway 96 that runs through the city closed earlier because of this high water. You're looking at some video from Kirby Humble. This was taken at the intersection of Highway 96 and Austin Street. Now, some areas received more than a foot of rain there in the past 24 hours. Jasper County Judge Mark Allen tells 12 News they had to shut down a lot of county roads and even some state highways because of rising water levels. Now, city workers told 12 News they hadn't seen something like this since Harvey. Tonight, officials are encouraging you to stay off the roads as much as possible, saying if you see high water, turn around, because even if you're familiar with the area at night, you just can't tell how deep that water is.
We're trying to prepare ourselves and brace ourselves for the next 3 or 4 days of this. We're hoping that it'll be a little bit of a break over the next couple of days. Give us time, give the rivers and the creeks time to go down a little bit before we get another round, say Thursday or Friday. So we're all just going to keep working together and get through this.
Yeah, we will. Judge Allen says he'll continue to work closely with the county's emergency management office to monitor road conditions this week. If you're in Jasper County and in need of sandbags, the county has you covered. You can pick up sandbags at each of the commissioners' barns. And in Newton County, commissioners' barns there also have a supply of sandbags. You can see the locations, including some in Burkeville and in Orange. We have all this info for you online.
And from Lumberton to LaBelle, Nederland to Newton, and everywhere in between, our 12 News Storm Trackers have you covered. We'll be on the air starting at 4:30 tomorrow morning with the very latest on this wild weather.
12 News is your election headquarters. Still an hour left for you to head to the polls tonight. We are walking you through the big issues on this Election Day ballot. Good evening, Southeast Texas. Voters around the state are deciding on 8 different propositions.
And here at home, we have some hot topics, too. From a renovated jail and law enforcement center in Newton County to a firefighter's push to unionize in Port Neches and Groves. In Hampshire Finette, a new concession stand bond is on the ballot again. And a new wastewater facility is being proposed in Lumberton. It is certainly a lot to work through.
As you can see, we've got our 12 News team team put together with live team coverage here at 6. They're spread out around Southeast Texas, covering all of these big issues. We want to begin live with James Grant in Newton County.
Alrighty, James, and on the ballot for people in Hampshire-Fannett ISD is that new concession stand for the high school.
Yeah, the district actually calling this a concession stand pavilion. We know the old one is 40 years old, and school administrators say it's time to replace. 12 News reporter Amelia White live in the Hampshire-Fannett School District tonight with what voters are saying. On the ballot in Lumberton, a new wastewater facility. The Lumberton Municipal Utility District, the MUD, says that voting yes for the new facility would translate to more growth. The old wastewater plant is 27 years old, 7 years older than it was intended to last. We spoke with the head of that utility district. He says the new plant would also help them meet state regulations.
One good thing about adding it to the tax base is the tax base. There's more people that own property within the district than there are that have water meters. So if you put a shit off on taxes, then you're splitting the note up with more people than just a water bill.
If approved, the district tax rate would increase 10 cents. That equals out to about $8.50 per month per $100,000 assessed value.
Now, from water to fire, firefighters in both Groves and Port Neches are trying to unionize. The collective bargaining would cost the city more money to fund those services. Now, that could mean many won't support it. But political experts say voters do tend to be sympathetic with these concerns. That's due to the nature of the jobs and because departments in larger cities have long been unionized.
Tonight, we're also tracking those 8 statewide propositions that are on the ballot today. These amendments were passed as bills during this past legislative session.
But a majority of voters in Texas have to approve them before they can officially be added to the state constitution. 12 News reporter Letitia Cahey walks us through some of those. And you still have time to get to the polls. Southeast Texas, we've made it pretty easy to find out what else is on the ballot where you live. Just text the word VOTE to 409-838-1212 to get the 12 News election guide.
Tonight, Southeast Texas bracing for a direct hit from Hurricane Laura, expected to be a Cat 3 as it makes landfall early Thursday morning, likely right here in Jefferson County. Tonight, virtually all of our region remains under a mandatory evacuation order. We're monitoring how the evacuation process is going and what you should expect if you're still debating whether to get out of town. We're also talking live with Governor Greg Abbott, gauging the state's response to this storm. Now, Laura is forecast, as you saw, to be a major hurricane when she makes landfall. From the storm surge to the wind gusts, we are all wondering how bad it's going to get. Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn here with his latest forecast.
Well, unfortunately, we're going to have problems with storm surge. We're going to have quite a bit of wind, and hopefully this will all change.
Thank you, sir. Right now, we are joined by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. He's with us live from Austin. As Southeast Texans prepare for Laura, certainly a lot of worry tonight, Governor, about how bad this storm could get. Memories of Harvey, Imelda, Rita, and Ike on so many of our minds. And, you know, those storms were really devastating to our economy. I wanted to start there tonight. How worried are you about the long-term economic effects of a storm like Laura?
You know, really part of the long-term consequence will depend on the way that people prepare for it. You all be safe.
Thank you. I want to get back to Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn in the Storm Tracker Center tonight. More than 50 Texas counties have issued disaster declarations as we wait for Hurricane Laura to make landfall. Jefferson, Orange, Newton, Jasper, Hardin, and Chambers counties all under mandatory evacuation orders. Tonight we've got live team coverage as we monitor how that process is going. Luis De Leon is at the Jefferson County Jail as inmates are trying to make their next move to safer spots. Lauren Hensley's been monitoring evacuation efforts in Orange County as folks hit the highway. We'll talk to them in a moment, but first let's go live to Jordan James. He's here in Beaumont where folks have been getting on buses leaving the city. We're also watching the highways tonight with our 12 News Skycam network, and I have to be honest with you, at least around the immediate Beaumont vicinity, no real problems. Look, you can see here Interstate 10 moving smoothly at 610 tonight. No problems around Beaumont, but we have started to hear about bottlenecking on stretches of Highway 90, say in the Devers area, and also closer to Houston along Interstate 10. All right, so in Orange County, the final county-operated evacuation bus left around 5 o'clock this afternoon. People started boarding those buses around 9 this morning. There's also a curfew in place for those who choose to stay. 12 News anchor Lauren Hensley is live with more information about the evacuation and also that curfew. Lauren? Earlier today, as folks were making last-minute grocery store runs and heading out of town, Jefferson County Sheriff's deputies were busy evacuating inmates. Reporter Luis De Leon was there during the transfers. He joins us tonight. Again, we want to run down the evacuations mandatory in Jefferson, Orange, Newton, Jasper, Hardin, and Chambers counties, and that is in effect for the duration of the storm. If you're looking for evacuation routes, maybe you've delayed your departure, you can simply text the word EVAC to 409-838-1212. And remember, 12 News is your hurricane headquarters. We're going to continue to track Laura, our live team coverage. Back in 2 minutes. Right now at 6, we continue tracking breaking news from Mauriceville. A train carrying chemicals derailed around 7:30 this morning. On the left, the view from the air, just a shocking scene. And on the right, chilling images of the moment the train came off the tracks. This video going viral, the smoke rising from the wreckage. We posted that clip on our 12 News Facebook page if you want to share it. Now, this all happened near Old Highway 62 and Highway 1130, just blocks from Mauriceville Middle and Elementary schools.
Jordan, here's what we know right now. The derailment involved 25 rail cars. 4 of them started leaking a petroleum product that officials say isn't hazardous. Another tanker car contained a corrosive product, but it's being contained. As a precaution, anyone in a mile radius has been asked to evacuate. But there's some good news. That zone should be scaled back as crews clean up the area.
And we're hoping that happens very soon. 12 News has covered every angle of this derailment throughout the day. We're going to stay with you on air and online until we get the all clear.
Tonight, we have extensive live team coverage.
Tonight, investigators still don't know what caused a deadly crane accident. They returned to the scene today along Interstate 10 near Smith Road. DPS says that construction crane dislodged yesterday, smashing a pickup truck and killing 2 men inside. Tonight, we're digging deeper into the accident, starting with the victims.
Yes, they have been identified as Safraz Karawadia and Altaf Kazaradia. Both men are from Friendswood, which is a suburb of Houston. Our sister station in Houston reached out to the family. They were just too emotional to talk right now and didn't want to share any pictures. Now, a series of investigations are underway. DPS is in charge.
OSHA and the feds also assisting, and tonight we know TxDOT's involved since one of their contractors was part of the construction project. 12 News has live team coverage for you tracking the latest. Our Letitia Cahey has been digging into the construction company and the contractors involved in the project.
But first we turn to James Grant. He is live at the scene of the crash tonight.
In case you missed it, Nederland school administrators say a student at Central Middle School brought a pellet gun to campus today. Now, nobody got hurt, and the district says their resource officer worked with Nederland PD to quickly respond. The district says the student will be disciplined, and there was never a threat to students or staff.
But Arthur police want to know if you've seen any of these men. Detectives say they broke into a business back on October 20th, but police just released this video today. You can see one suspect wearing a shirt with the word cookies and the other suspect in a Hurley hoodie. If you have any info, please call Crime Stoppers at 833-TIPS.
For the first time in more than a decade, the U.S. House has voted to censure a sitting member, Republican Congressman Paul Gosar of Arizona, being punished for a controversial tweet. It was a cartoon video depicting himself killing Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and attacking President Biden with swords. Gosar insisted that the cartoon was not a threat, but instead symbolized the battle over President Biden's economic package. He later deleted the tweet.
The January 6th rioter known as the QAnon Shaman has been sentenced to 41 months in prison. Jacob Chansley was pictured wearing a face paint and horned furry headdress, which led others through the Capitol, shouting through a bullhorn. He pleaded guilty in September to felony obstruction.